Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a very successful real estate agent who's now teaching others how to fast-track their business. Her journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So I've been fascinated with real estate my entire adult life, and during the good times, pretty much anybody who can fog a mirror can sell a house, especially here in North Texas. But during slow times, like it is right now, I mean, there's a crunch of inventory, so the home market isn't what it was 2 years ago. That's when you really find out who has their chops. Somebody who knows something about that is Ashley Massey. She's the author of Fast Track Agent. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me very much.
So she looks very young, but she's lived like 5 lives. So before we got into real estate, what were we doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So before I got into real estate, I lived overseas for a long time. I was in South Korea and Germany for about 13 years. I went over for my MBA, studied economics and finance, was a professor for a long time, and then managed to make my way back to Dallas.
Sure. And then you said that your dad had a career in real estate. So did that inspire you to go into real estate?
It did. We always talked about real estate in my house. It was, something that was talked about at the dinner table. He sold real estate back in the 70s, crazy interest rates. So it was always something in my mind.
Sure. Okay. So when you dived in, I assume you're a quick study. So not only did you get your license, but you said, I can learn stuff from the people who are doing it at the highest levels, and maybe I can teach it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So when I got into real estate, I like to say that I had a lot of fast success. I was licensed very quickly. I was under contract with a client within 3 weeks and just kind of took it from there. I realized that there's a lot that new agents don't know. We're taught how to take a test and we're taught how to get a license, but we don't actually learn the business. So one of my goals is to teach others how to learn the business.
Sure. And you were telling me that when you bought your first home, you had a bad experience.
Yeah, I had a tough experience buying my first home. It was at the height of the market a couple years back, and I just didn't feel like I knew what I was doing, and I didn't feel like I was really being empowered to understand the process. And so now that I'm licensed and I'm able to walk my clients through that, I really want them to know what the steps are and what we're doing and why it's important.
Okay, I want to spend a little bit more time talking about the North Texas market. So let's go ahead and pull some pictures up off of your website to talk about, this economy and what we're seeing right now. I noticed on your website as we scroll down it that you have homes in the city, you have homes in the country. What are you experiencing right now in terms of the demand and the supply?
Absolutely. So inventory is it's still tight. It's still hard to be able to get those great homes that we're looking for. They sell really fast. Sellers have been kind of nervous. They don't know where they're going to go. And so just being able to kind of navigate those conversations with having interest rates, we're seeing those kind of come down a little bit. So buyers are back. I've said spring has sprung very early in Dallas. A lot of my buyers are back out making offers, seeing homes very fast. And we're seeing open houses come back into a little more populated, and it's exciting.
Sure. And of course, when the media talks about the real estate market, they're talking about the entire country. Dallas has always been pretty hot. There's some 200,000 people who move here every year. So a Dallas housing recession is not like a Detroit housing recession.
Correct. And that's something when we talk about real estate, I like to say it's like the weather. We can't just look at the national forecast. You really need to know what's going on specifically in your area. The population growth alone in the DFW area is going to show that we're going to keep growing. We've got supply and demand issues. And just basic economics, when the supply is down and the demand goes up, those prices are going to go up too.
Okay, you also wrote this amazing book, Fast Track Agent. So tell us what inspired you to write the book.
Yeah, so Fast Track Agent, I've actually been inspired to write a couple books, and this was not the book I was supposed to write, but it came out very inspired when I sat down to write my book, and I felt that I had known a lot about getting into real estate, that when I spoke with other new agents, they didn't understand some of those tricks or some of those things when it comes to networking, building your brand, getting your face in front of people, speaking to everyone that you know about what you're doing. And so I just essentially developed a 90-day guide with all of those tips and tricks that brand new agents need to know to get off on the successful foot.
Okay, I want to pull up your website, and as we scroll down this part of the website, I want you to talk about the kinds of agents you like to work with.
Absolutely.
What's an ideal client for you?
I love new agents that are eager to understand the business and that are eager to learn. I like agents that are coachable, that are good with taking direction, and that hold themselves to a very professional standard. I think that it's something in our industry, we're not always seen as professionals. We're not always seen as experts because anyone can go and get a license. So really just making sure that they understand the importance in what they're doing and being the best at what they do.
Sure. Ashley, give us some do's and don'ts. What are some common mistakes that realtors make?
Oh, common mistakes that realtors make. One of the biggest mistakes that realtors make, I think, is being, as new agents, a secret agent. They're not sure how to tell their friends and family and the people around what they're doing. And so they just kind of hide in the bushes until they feel they're ready to show, oh, look, I'm getting licensed or I've gotten licensed. For me, I was telling everybody from every mountaintop I could that I was going into real estate, and I think that set it apart for a very fast start to my career.
Let's talk about the follow-up, because I remember, in my adult life, I've bought and sold several homes, and the real estate agent, in most cases, was, kind of disappeared. After they sold me a home, they're off to the next deal. But the follow-up, if you're really, paying attention to the business that you've already sold, they could recommend their brother, sister, uncle, aunt, son, daughter, right?
Absolutely. I've got a great story on that. Actually, a friend called a name sign that I was on, and they wanted to look at a house. So I go over and I show them this house, and they were looking to lease and move from California. So I got them into a leased home, and her and I became fast friends. I helped them get adjusted to their life here in Texas. And then a year later, they were able to buy with me. So, but I mean, we were at kids' birthday parties together and dinners, and just had a really great friendship from that.
Yeah, and I feel like a great realtor has great empathy, because sometimes you're coming into a difficult situation, maybe it's a divorce or something like that, where you almost become a therapist.
Absolutely. I mean, we sell homes, but we're also a therapist. We're emotional support. We're childcare at times when people bring their kids along. I mean, we do it all.
That's awesome. Okay, let's talk about one of your favorite client stories. You were telling me one right before the broadcast.
Yeah, so one of my favorite client stories was with a client who ran into a financing situation, and it was very difficult. We just had about 2 weeks left before she needed to close on this house. And I was able to get her connected through my network of other great professionals to someone who was able to solve her problem. And so she didn't lose the house, she didn't lose her earnest money. She was able to just get closed in a very short amount of time. So I'm really thankful that I can bring good people along.
And I love it that you're a problem solver, because there would be people in your industry that would say, go figure it out and then come back to me when you figure it out. But you held her hand and got her through the process.
Exactly. And I had a few people along the way saying this was impossible and there's nothing we can do. And I just didn't take no for an answer.
That's awesome. Okay, what do you see the next 10 years of Ashley Massey's career looking like? What do you see for yourself?
So for my career, I've actually just embarked on a team, which is very exciting. So I have a team now with my agency here in Dallas. So I'm very excited to just bring on new agents and be able to lead them through that and mentor them along the way. And so I'm hoping to just continue to grow that team. And then I'm also going international. So working with some properties in Mexico and other places around the world. So I'm very excited for that.
Ashley, congratulations on your success. It's no surprise to me. With that smile and that energy, you're going to go very far.
Thank you.
We're going to end with both of her websites. We're going to start with the first one, soyouwantamove.com. and that's her real estate website. And then her agent website is thefasttrackagent.com. The great Ashley Massey. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.